What's good, everybody, man? Today, I'm going to be giving my early predictions on Fight Night Dern versus Ribas, all right? I got 4 weeks to prepare, all right? That's why I'm doing this video right now. 4 weeks to really study and do well because Tampa was bad, all right? My predictions were horrible. My bets, not as bad as my predictions, but not great. We did end up hitting Manel Cop KO. But Vitor Petrino, I got some words for you, man. Look, if you want to skip to the predictions, I'll put the timestamps in because I got to talk about Vitor Petrino, man. Now, typically when I go out and say that there's no way that this guy loses, like, what is he going to do to lose, right? They always lose. And Vitor Petrino just did that. Because Vitor Petrino, I was talking about, he can't even get hurt by Jacoby. He can't get hurt by Jacoby. Jacoby has no power. He has no power whatsoever, and even if he's getting technically outboxed on the feet, Vitor Petrino could go take him down. You know what I mean? And that's how I felt about that fight, and that's how I always feel about that fight. But Vitor Petrino is about 230 pounds walking in the octagon, absolutely jacked. A block of a head. His head is like Minecraft head, bro. And he got put out cold by Dustin Jacoby, who is 36 and 1-4 in his last 5 fights. Out cold. I mean, Dustin Jacoby, I'm sorry, Dustin Jacoby. I got to be real honest with you, man. You just, I just take a look at you in the octagon and you just look like an old man, bro. It's simple as that. You look like Tony, you look like Damon Jackson. Well, I don't know why I brought up Damon Jackson. He's not that old, but you just look like those old guys, man. And his durability is shot. Petrino did end up dropping him, hurting him one time. And Jacoby's been hurt by everybody in his last 4, man. Alonzo Menefield was having a field day on him. How does Vitor Petrino not beat him? Because Petrino's got everything to win. But you got put out cold, stiffened, toes curled face first in the canvas by Dustin Jacoby, man. I'll never, ever, ever put any money on you ever again, man. You're one fight away from street beefs, bro. So you got to win your next fight, man. So come out with some urgency and stop fighting like a little baby, all right? Where you're just sitting there doing nothing, no volume at all, man. Very frustrating because I believe in Petrino. I still believe in him. He's got an insane skill set. And I'm very upset that I didn't get that one because up 2-0 and gets knocked out cold by Dustin. It's Jacoby. It's literally the same thing. If y'all remember, if y'all are OGs, not OGs, but the Macau card. What's her name? Feng got knocked out by Shi Ming in the 3rd round after losing 2 rounds. Okay, it's the same shit. It happened again. And it's frustrating, but man, let's get right into this. All right. Ihor Poteria taking on Marco Tulio. So there are a lot of Dana White Contender Series fighters on this card. Marco Tulio is one of them, and now he's taking on Ihor Poteria. I'm a fan of Ihor. I like his game. He's a very fun fighter, and he is 1-4 in his last 5. But this fight right here, Rodolfo Bellato, he should have won. One of the best fights I've seen in a minute. It was really, really crazy. But Poteria, for the most part, is a striker. He's a southpaw. He is pretty fast. He doesn't hit that hard, but he is a pretty good athlete. He's coming off a loss to Cesar Almeida, I believe, where, a weird fight. That was the one where the ref was all messed up, guys. If you don't remember, the ref was standing him up immediately and not doing the eye pokes, and he immediately got pulled off the card. But that was that fight. And he actually did pretty good, I don't remember exactly, and I'll have to go back and watch, but I don't think he did that bad. He didn't get knocked out. And that's pretty good for Ihor because he's typically fallen into the chaos and getting knocked out. Now he's taking on Marco Tulio, who is a Dana White Contender Series guy. I would imagine he's around the -300 area in this fight because he is a pretty good, he can do it all, right? He's a shoot box guy. He's powerful on the feet. I wouldn't say he's, a technical striker. He's going to be the smaller guy in terms of length in this fight, even probably the smaller guy in general. But he does have jiu-jitsu and he does have wrestling that he can take advantage of Ihor Poteria. Because Ihor Poteria doesn't really have wrestling, all right? He's kind of a pure striker that's not even that good of a striker. And he is, I don't want to say he's a better striker than Tulio, but Tulio, he's pretty fast. He does hit really hard, and he could definitely catch Ihor Poteria. But I think the best way to win this fight for Marco Tulio is just take Ihor down because he is susceptible to being taken down. We've seen a lot of people take him down. Bellato is taking him down. I mean, I can't remember off the top of my head, but he can be taken down. Tulio is a pretty good wrestler, and I do expect him to get this one done. I believe he's one of the biggest favorites on this card, if I'm not mistaken, but he'll probably win. Next up, Victoria Dudakova taking on Fatima Kline. I know Fatima Kline fought Jazz the Vicious on short notice, up a weight class. She did okay, and she has a balanced game, but she just looked like a toddler in there, you know what I mean? And, honestly, Jazz the Vicious is already a big flyweight, and she's a very weird person, but nonetheless, she is a big flyweight, Jazz the Vicious is, and she had a lot of success taking down Fatima Kline, and that's just kind of what it is, right? A bigger person's probably going to be able to lay on top of you, so that's really what happened in that fight. And Kline looked okay, but short notice. She's a striker. I think she's got everything. I don't know too much about her. I know she was supposed to be on the Contender Series. Now she's here, or took that fight short notice, and now she's here. Dudakova, I believe she's 8-1, lost her last fight. I believe she lost to Sam Hughes. And my goodness, that's not a good loss. I think Kline's the more technical fighter here. I think she'll get this one done. So I'm going to go, early pick is going to be Fatima Kline to get this one done. Next up, a bit of a weird matchup. Narullo Aleiv taking on Yanal Ashmouz. And Narullo Aleiv has been inactive as hell, bro. I don't know where this guy is. Last fight, 1 year and 9 months ago. What are you doing, man? And now he's taking on Yanal Ashmouz, who's coming off a win versus Trevor Peek. We haven't really seen Yanal Ashmouz tested in the grappling department, and a guy like Narullo Aleiv is going to do that. He is strong. He does have good wrestling. He does have good control. He's not the best submission grappler, but he does have good control. He can control. He has pretty good ground and pound. He got a win over Alves, right? Rafael Alves, right? That's a pretty good win. Rafael Alves is a dangerous fighter and big as hell. And I know that Aleiv found himself in some submissions in that fight, I believe, which he was able to get out. I think he got rocked, maybe got rocked in that fight as well. I don't exactly remember, but he's not great on the feet. Simple as that. I mean, he's going to try and get you to the ground. One thing about Yanal Ashmouz, I don't think he is, I think he actually is a pretty good fighter. Yanal Ashmouz is tiny, okay? He's tiny. This guy could probably be a bantamweight, I feel like. He's really, really small. And I know he is jacked. I've seen pictures of him with like veins popping out, but he's got like a 68-inch reach. That ain't gonna work, man. I know he's fast. He has good power. He is elusive. He's a good athlete in general. But I worry about the physicality, okay? Because Aleiv is big. He's strong. He has good entries on his takedowns. He's got a hard grip, and I don't really know if Ashmouz is big enough to deal with Narullo Aleiv, so I'll probably be going with Aleiv, but we haven't really seen enough wrestling from Yanal Ashmouz. He hasn't really had to defend takedowns. He was taking down Trevor Peek. I believe Chris Duncan took him down a couple times, but his arm was broken in that fight. I believe who else? Who did he fight? Sam Patterson. He knocked out Sam Patterson. Kind of a funny knockout, but I do think Narullo Aleiv is a big guy. He's a very strong wrestler. He's hungry. He's younger. And I think he'll get this one done via decision. Should be an interesting fight, though. I definitely have to look back at that for sure. Next up, Razak Alhassan taking on Cesar Almeida. I already don't like Razak Alhassan because he's talking shit about Dricus, right? I think he does, and Dricus is one of my favorite fighters, so I don't really like Razak Alhassan, and he has been knocked out cold a couple times. As you can tell, he's 39 years old. He says he has aspirations for the belt. I'm not really sure what belt he's looking for because he ain't getting a UFC belt. Now he's taking on Cesar Almeida, who, yes, he's a technical striker. I mean, he didn't look great. He did not look great. He looked pretty good against Kopylov, but, got taken down so easily. And then he takes a step down and goes against Poteria and doesn't look great. So it's interesting enough already. I mean, I still don't even know. Obviously, he does have that kickboxing background, and he is going to be the better striker here. I don't think he hits as hard as Alhassan, but he is the cleaner, more technical striker. And Razak or Alhassan could take him down, and I think that'd be the easiest way because, I mean, for God's sakes, Kopylov was not having any trouble taking down Cesar Almeida. So maybe we'll see Razak take him down. But honestly, I hope Abdul gets put out cold, please. I hope he does. So I'm going to be going, early pick is going to be Cesar Almeida to knock out Razak out cold, hopefully. Next up, pretty interesting fight. Magomed Gadzhyasulov taking on Bruno Lopes. So Bruno Lopes, both these guys are contender series. Gadzhyasulov has actually had fights in the UFC. And Bruno Lopes, he is a balanced fighter, I want to say. So for a light heavyweight, I wouldn't give him the athleticism advantage. I wouldn't give him the speed advantage here. But he's balanced, and he can be competitive anywhere the fight goes. He's really good on the ground with submissions. He is pretty good boxing. I mean, in his first contender series fight, he got put out cold by Brenson Navarro. In this fight, wasn't that great, honestly. I wasn't that impressed with this fight, so I don't really know if he's that good. Magomed Gadzhyasulov, I was really high on this guy originally when he came off the contender series. A very athletic, fast light heavyweight that can do it all pretty much, and I do still think he has that kind of potential. But the last fight concerned me a little bit. Brenson Navarro won the first round, and Gadzhyasulov was forced to wrestle the whole entire fight because Brenson Navarro hit him with a couple calf kicks. So now, honestly, Gadzhyasulov to me is the much cleaner, way better athlete. I don't think he hits as hard as Lopes, but I think he's cleaner. I think he's way faster. I think he'll get this one done, though. I do believe in him as a fighter. He's a light heavyweight that has some good skill on him. He's fast. He's a good athlete, like I said. He can compete anywhere this fight goes. I think Lopes is probably going to shoot takedowns here. Gadzhyasulov will be ready for it, and he'll defend those takedowns, and he'll win a decision. Maybe get a knockout, but I like Gadzhyasulov, man. I think he's a much, much better athlete, and he can compete everywhere it goes. He's fast. I think he gets this one done. Next up, bit of a fun, interesting fight. Jose Johnson taking on Felipe Bunes. Okay, both of these guys, long and tall for the division. Now, Felipe Bunes, I believe his only one fight in the UFC is Joshua Van. And, he had success in that fight. He had a good little couple calf kicks, a good right hand. He, stung Van a couple of times. And eventually Van does what Josh Van does and breaks you down with body shots, and he got the TKO. And now he's taking on Jose Johnson, who just got laid on by Asu Amabayev, the most overrated flyweight in the division. So Jose Johnson, as you can see, is 6 foot for the weight class, so he's huge. They both have similar reaches. And Jose Johnson, he is a striker. He is the faster striker, in my opinion. Bunes is better, though, in my opinion. I think Bunes is a better striker. I think he's better Muay Thai. I think he's better technique on his shots. And if it goes to the ground, I do believe Bunes is a better grappler. So I'm going to be going with Felipe Bunes for my early pick. Obviously, I still have to do the research. I still don't know a ton about both of these guys, previous to their UFC run, especially for Bunes, because he's only had one fight in the UFC, and I don't really know that much about Jose Johnson, a little bit. But I do think that Bunes is a good underdog to look at for now. I'm going to be picking Bunes for my early prediction. Next up, weird fight. Andreas Gustafsson taking on Preston Parsons. Now, Andreas Gustafsson is a contender series guy. He's taking on Preston Parsons, who has had a couple fights in the UFC. He's obviously a win one, lose one, win one, lose one. Beats Matthew Semmelsberger, which I didn't expect. And then he loses to Oben Elliott, which I didn't expect as well. He split a loss versus Trevin Giles. And what Preston Parsons is, he's a wrestler, okay? And he does have pretty good takedowns. He has pretty good control. He uses his footwork pretty good on the outside, but he's a pretty good fighter. You know what I mean? He ain't great everywhere, or great anywhere, for that matter. He's okay. And he is, if he can get you to the ground, he can have pretty much a good success, but he doesn't really have a dangerous submission game at all, pretty much. And now, Andreas Gustafsson, while I do think he might be able to get taken down by Preston Parsons, I do think Parsons will maybe be able to get him down. This guy, you can look at his picture and you can tell this guy's a little bit different, all right? Andreas Gustafsson, he is aggressive as hell, and he is durable as hell. So, it's not going to be easy on the feet with this guy, because he's going to come forward. He's going to swing hard. No, he doesn't have good technique on his punches. They're okay. He's powerful. Yeah, he's powerful. He doesn't keep his range, he just comes forward. And in his Contender Series fight. I've watched his fights before, these ones. You know, he is just swinging with you. If you go back and watch some of his fights on the regional scenes, they're some of the most entertaining fights ever, okay? This guy is a fun, entertaining fighter, all right? He's coming forward, he's swinging, and heavy punches. And in this fight, his Contender Series fight, Pat Piltic is horrible, I'm not going to lie to you, but he pretty much, Andreas Gustafsson pretty much took it into his own hands, I guess, and just walked him down and just beat his ass in the clinch in a brutal finish, all right? This guy, like, he reminds me of Vanderlei Silva. Like, he's that kind of mentality. Like, he does not give a shit. He's relentless, all right? And I think Parsons might be able to have success. I got to watch film, but early on, man, I'm going to go with Gustafsson because this dude is, like, he's vicious good. Like, if you guys want to watch some fun fights, go watch his fights because he is fun to watch, man. He's crazy. But I'll go with Gustafsson for my first pick, or for early pick. Next up, Punahele Soriano taking on Uros Medic. Look, I've always not liked Punahele Soriano because Punahele Soriano is probably the most one-dimensional fighter of all time, okay? Not of all time, but you know what he wants, all right? I believe is he a southpaw? I don't know what the hell he is. I think he's a southpaw. All he wants is his left hand, okay? That's all he really cares about. He's so one-dimensional on the feet. He's powerful, sure, but that's all he can land is his left hand. He's got good takedown defense. He can wrestle a little bit. But I do think when it's on the feet, the guy who mixes up the shots better, the guy who's more elusive, he's faster, you know, he sets up his shots. He's also the longer guy, the better striker, better at range management. Sure, Punahele has that one-shot power where he can land that left. I think he's a southpaw. I can't remember exactly. But he does have that fight-ending kind of power with his left hand where he can hit you and it can be over. And he does have good timing on those counters, but it's so one-dimensional. And I've seen people in the past, if you look at his losses, take advantage of this, okay? You see Kopylov took advantage of it. A lot of these guys are taking advantage of Punahele Soriano having the same game plan of coming forward and landing his left hand. Now he's recently moved down to welterweight. He was at middleweight. He got a win over Miguel Baeza, where he wrestled a lot. And I don't think the wrestling is going to be easy for him against Uros Medic. I think this fight will take place on the feet. I think Uros Medic is going to knock him the fuck out, probably. You know, you saw a guy like, what's his damn name? Caveman. Mitzbek, Caveman, take him down. Punahele ain't like that. And when it comes to his grappling. So I do expect Medic, the faster guy, the better, slicker striker, to get this one done. And I think he'll knock out Punahele Soriano. So I'm going to be going with Uros Medic to win that fight. Next up, Nicole Kalari taking on Ernesta. I don't even know who this is, bro. She lost to Diana Barbosa. All right, I'm not picking her then. I'm picking Nicole Kalari because I know, like, Barbosa's horrible, so I don't know much about any of these fighters. She was on Contender Series, apparently, 2 months ago. I must have been taking a nap or something. So I'll go with Kalari to win that fight. But, yeah, this is what I wanted to get to. A really, really high-level, fun fight in the featherweight division. We got Austin Bashi taking on C-Rod, Christian Rodriguez. Now, Austin Bashi is one of the most highly touted guys coming off the Contender Series, all right? He is a damn good fighter, in my opinion. I think he's really, really talented. I'm really excited to see this debut, but it comes against one of my favorite fighters to watch, and that's Christian Rodriguez, man. So it pains me because I like C-Rod a lot. You know, he goes out there, gets a big win over Raul Rosas. I can't remember this one. Isaac Dulgarian, an insane win to have it. Dulgarian, it was a close fight. He could have lost that one. And then he gets submitted by Julian Arosa. Arosa's a guy who beats anybody on any day and then loses to anybody, all right? But yeah, C-Rod is a very good boxer with great takedown defense, and I do give him the advantage in the boxing in this fight. But similarly, I think this fight resembles a little bit of that Isaac Dulgarian fight. But, man, guys, I really think highly of Austin Bashi. I really do. And honestly, I wasn't that high on him. And he went into that Contender Series fight. Damn, he looked good. He looked unstoppable good, guys. Like, he is 23 years old, as you can see. You know, he is small for the weight class, which makes me a little bit nervous. He is small. I think he should be a bantamweight. But my goodness, the guy's pace, his wrestling, his jiu-jitsu, it's on point. And he can hang on the feet as well, okay? It's not like he's bad on the feet. And he's 13-0. You go to some of his regional wins, they're great wins against seasoned fighters, okay, that are good. Austin Bashi is a damn problem. He's really damn good, man. And I remember that Contender Series fight that I watched. They were talking about the commentator because he was wrestling heavy a lot, wrestling a ton. And they were like, when is he, once he gets tired, that's when whoever the guy he was fighting is going to start to look better. But Bashi didn't get tired. The other guy got tired. And he looked like reminiscent of Merab because it was so impressive how much he kept that gas on. Like, it was crazy, bro. And it's going to be hard for me to pick somebody to beat this guy, honestly, dude. Because from what I've seen from him, especially in that debut, man, the Contender Series, it was incredible. Incredible. And I definitely think he's one of the best guys on the Contender Series. I'm going to have to lean towards him in this matchup, man. I think he can out-wrestle C-Rod and keep the pace on him. You saw Dolgarian do it. I think Bashi's a little bit better than Dolgarian on the mat. And Bashi's bigger than Dolgarian, like stronger. Dolgarian is, a bantamweight, I think. So I think Bashi's going to put it on him and wrestle him and beat him to a decision or submission, man. This dude, I'm telling you guys, he's very good. He's very, very good. So definitely someone to look out for. Next up is going to be Carlston Harris taking on Santiago Ponzinibbio. What are we doing, man? What a weird fight. Ponzinibbio is coming off a loss to Muslim Salikov where he didn't look that bad. And Harris got knocked out by Chaos Williams, I believe, out cold. Harris has good submissions. He is a bit of a weird striker. He kind of throws his strikes like this, like hammer fists. And he's a little weird. I don't know how this fight goes, honestly, guys. I think it is a close fight. Ponzinibbio, for me, Santiago always has durability issues. But now he's going up against a guy Carlston Harris, who has durability issues as well. And I do think Ponzinibbio hits harder in this matchup. He is a bit smaller, but I do think that fight versus Salikov, he still looked like he had it a little bit. And I think he'll knock out Carlston Harris. Obviously, this is early predictions. I don't know exactly, but that's just what early on it tells me that I think, Ponzinibbio can find a finish here. He does hit hard, but I think Carlston Harris could find a finish too. Carlston Harris has good submissions, not the best takedowns. He's got a good anaconda choke, but he can keep you at range and do pretty good on the outside, but he's not good enough on the outside for me to pick him in this fight. He's not better than Muslim Salikov on the outside, right? I don't think he's good enough on the outside. I think there's a moment where Ponzinibbio is going to hit him with something big and knock him out. So I'm going to go Ponzinibbio. Next up, Chris Curtis taking on Roman Kopylov. A very interesting fight that I know Chris Curtis is plus 200 right now, man. I like Roman Kopylov, all right? But that is ridiculous, okay? Roman Kopylov, look, he knows what to do. The game plan's out on how to beat Chris Curtis, all right? Dance around the octagon and kick him at range. Chris Curtis, for some reason, can't cut off the cage the right way, so he gets frustrated and has a hard time finishing or tracking people down. But Chris Curtis is underrated to me, man. And I don't know if I can pick against him in this fight, man. I like Kopylov, and he's fast. He, hits pretty hard. His kicking is really fast. He's very dynamic. But Chris Curtis can nullify that. Chris Curtis has some of the best defense, man. The guy rarely gets hit with clean shots. He rolls with shots well. And obviously there is a way that Kopylov can win this fight, dancing on the outside. Like I said, we're in the apex. It's a smaller cage. Kopylov's cardio has been a little bit of a problem for me. I think I'm going to go with Chris Curtis, and I might bet this because I think the line is way too wide, and I think we'll start to see it shrink as people, kind of get going. But I do think that Chris Curtis is better. He's a better boxer. He rolls with shots well. I think he could possibly find a finish too, possibly. But I am going to go with Chris Curtis to win this fight. I think he'll struggle in the first round, but second and third round, I think he'll win. So I am going to go with Chris Curtis to win this fight. The co-main event is Thiago Moises taking on Trey Ogden. I've talked about Trey Ogden before. I think he's really crafty. He's got a really good jab. He has good footwork. He has good feints. He can wrestle as well. Now, in this fight, I think, I don't want to count Trey Ogden out, but I think he is a little bit outmatched. Thiago Moises somehow is 29 years old. I can't even believe it. I feel like he's been here forever. But he's had some bad losses recently. You know, the Benoit Saint Denis loss was a brutal finish, and he got smoked by Ludovic Kline, I believe, last time out. Smoked, absolutely smoked, and that was not a great performance, and it's kind of making me not want to pick him here. But I don't know, man, because I think Ogden, he times takedowns really well. We've seen Moises get taken down, but not for long, and I don't think Ogden is some kind of, you know, our Sarukian or Makachev. I don't think he's some kind of Makachev. So I don't really think he'll be able to hold him down long. But I don't really know what Moises is going to do, man, because Ogden has a weird style where he can really slow you down. I mean, he'll jab at you and get out of the way quick. Jab at you, get out of the way quick. He's a tough fighter to beat. He's very tricky. I mean, he's beat Daniel Zellhuber, I believe, as you can see. So he is tricky. Bahamondes beat him, but he's a weird fighter, man. Like, he was, I remember he was an underdog here. I bet the house on him to win this fight. He got it done. He's a weird, tricky guy to beat, and I think he's got a chance here. But I think Moises, oh, man, it's a weird fight. I'm going to go with Ogden. Fuck it, for early pick. It's early pick. I don't care. I'm going to go with Ogden, man. I think his creativity and his craftiness, his timing, his IQ, you know, this guy's going to be a great coach in the future, by the way. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Trey Ogden to win this fight. Next up is the main event. Mackenzie Dern taking on Amanda Ribas. I'll probably go with Ribas, you know. I don't think Dern is as good on the feet. She's probably better on the ground with jiu-jitsu, but the more physical fighter is Ribas. She hits harder. She's better on the feet to me. As you can see, she's a win-loss, win-loss, you know. But look who she's losing to. Rose is not bad at all. You know, Macy Barber, that was a war, bro. But I like Ribas, man. I think she's more aggressive. I think she's hits harder. And I think she'll hopefully knock out Mackenzie Dern, man. So I'm going to go with Ribas to win this fight. And yeah, man, that's going to do it for me. I hope y'all boys enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next one.